everybody.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
I am Janae Strother.
I'm Sean Spencer.
Back.
We are back.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen.
I gotta go out and hold up.
Come on. Come on. Here. The last one. You need to find Kirk Cousins.
All right. I am Janae Strother.
I am Sean Spencer.
And this is Let's Talk Football.
I shall proceed and continue to take command. I shall proceed and continue to take command. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that's Let's Talk Football. And I'm here today on this Wednesday. Washington Football Weekly, baby. Let's get it. You know who I'm with. You see this guy right here. My guy, Mr. Dub K in South Carolina. What up, Will?
Hey, man, how you doing? Another great Wednesday night.
Oh, yeah. You already know, man. You already know.
Oh, yeah. I'm all right back here. Hey, guess what? Guess what? Another eBay special that came in.
There we go.
In 2022.
Oh, I like it, man. I like how you're getting them under the radar. You know what I'm saying? You're smuggling a little bit
in the house.
That's why we know she doesn't listen to this, man. Because if she listens, you know all the secrets.
She pays no attention.
Let's go, right. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. And we are here. We are the Commanders. We are Washington Football Weekly. And we're just, news, notes, inside and out, bring in guests. And ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We have a guest, man. This guy is taking over late night. All right. Any of y'all that stay up late or maybe get up a little early, like 12, 1 o'clock, my man is on there doing it up, talking sports. He hits everything. NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, WNBA, college, pros, everything. Big Nate Snell, host of the Big Nathan Sports Talk podcast. My dude is doing big things, man. Yo, he's going to tune in. He's going to talk to us a little bit about what his thoughts are about Washington and I'm eager to see what he has to say, Will. He's always in the comments. I can't wait.
I love that. I know when we started off, Nate seemed like just the Ravens fan that was trying to heckle us. But then you started learning, actually, no, he pays more attention to Washington than I realized. So sometimes he's got some good ideas. So, I'm curious to hear what he thinks we should be doing as somebody not in the bubble, not biased. He can see the forest through the trees and kind of let us know what he thinks up the road, up 95.
I'm eager. I'm definitely eager to see what our partner from up 95 is doing and how they feel about us, because I think that's a good thing. I do want to say you will have to be held accountable for those Jeff George being a good Washington quarterback comments.
Mm-hmm.
You most certainly will have to be held accountable. I need to hear that. I need to talk to you about that, but we're glad that we can bring you on the show, man. And I can't wait to interview and talk to him. And then he's got his show later on tonight. So yeah, that's what's up. I enjoy that. I always love seeing other young brothers doing what we're doing, moving in good directions. So let's get it. While we are here, we do want to say happy it is March 2nd, Wednesday, March 2nd. I'm already moving past to tomorrow, man. I'm already moving on to tomorrow. We have to send some happy birthdays out. And I want to send a happy birthday to one of my coworkers. It's his daughter's birthday. And I got to tell you, man, Princess Agaeri, my coworker is big, really, really big, probably about 6'2", 6'3", big African guy. All right. Talking, he can talk a lot of English, actually very intelligent, but dumbs it down because people think that he's not. So he just kind of plays it. He's like one of those wise old guys, right?
Okay.
His children, all three of them have gone to major schools on scholarships. One the first one had an academic and an athletic scholarship and chose the academic, and then went to and got a full ride master's at Duke after. So he got his degree I can't remember where the first one was, then went to Duke after, got his master's, got all that stuff. The second one went overseas and played basketball, like overseas doing it. Princess, she played for Penn and went overseas to kind of play professionally out there. The third one's doing as Shepherd, playing ball and doing his thing. I can't. Every time I see him, I'm like, yo, my boy with the Shepherd, man. So he's playing ball, doing it. All of his kids are doing amazing. But happy birthday, Princess, man. Yo, that family is legit. For real.
Yeah, those are some successful kids, man. That's awesome. Happy birthday to Princess.
Oh yeah. Definitely got to support local teams. Every time I talk to him, every time I talk to the youngest one, his name Emmanuel, and I'm like, you go to Shepherd, man. I was like, I had some days, man. There were some times with Will and Jack, man. Some memories locked up in the vault.
Yeah, don't share those.
Nope, locking those up. Yo, so we do have to keep it moving, but hey. In the same energy, same spirit of shouting people out, something else went down, Will, and I'm excited about it, man. There's a bachelor party going on tonight.
There is, yeah. So I was talking with Jack Niedermeyer, you know him, and he said, Will, I'm on my way to Asheville, North Carolina, because Ryan Johnston. I'm sure we remember him from Hardin High School. I actually knew him. I purchased the Drainsville Dragon. We used to catch the middle school bus and the high school bus we all meet up at Mason Mill Court to catch the bus and chat every morning. But he is in Asheville having a bro weekend, having his bachelor party. What Jack told me, he was a name for the past. I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard that name in forever. He was going to ride down with Steve Cruz.
Wow.
Yeah. So you remember that name? I can only imagine that Tommy's probably there. I think Easton might have moved. He's in England, but maybe he moved back. You got to think he's coming. So congrats to Ryan. Congrats to Catherine as well. Have an awesome weekend in Nashville. It's a lovely place to visit. I'm sure they're going to have an awesome time.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. All right, man, Ryan. Hey. You already know, man. Congratulations. You and I go way back as well. Freshman year at lunchtime, there was a couple of the seniors used to play like tackle football on that yard right out there in front of right across the street from the cafeteria. And some of the freshmen used to go out there. And Ryan was a baller. Ryan was dominating them. So I started going out there and just, trying to do what I did. I'd always come into the last period like with my jeans all stained up. And one of these girls was like, man, why you always getting dirty, man? And I was like, I'm balling, nigga. I'm good. Yo, but me and him have always been cool back when. We always, I hung out with the Tommy and the Easton crowd and all them, Jack and all those guys. DJ Lemon Lime, man. That was my guy. So, hey, shout out to you, Ryan. I'm so happy for you, man. Catherine, you're getting a great guy. I wish you guys nothing but the best. And, hey, best wishes. Enjoy your marriage.
Yeah, heck yeah. You talk about Shepherd. I totally forgot. He transferred to Shepherd, and he finished up there. And so we played intramural sports, and we would always assemble teams. And I'm telling you, man, we had dominant teams. Our softball team, there was no chance. You had no chance getting past us. Flag football, we had some good teams, good squads.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm with you, man. Awesome to them. Awesome.
I can dig it. Let's go. Yeah, so shout out to them. But, yo, we know why you are here. This is Washington Football Weekly with myself and my guy, Mr. Will Kramer, Dub K in the building. Hey, the offseason's here. Will, the offseason is in full swing, but it's been kind of quiet. I mean, compared to last year,
The league-wide, I mean, Matthew Stafford had been traded by now. I'm pretty sure he got traded maybe the weekend of the conference championship or in between.
Yeah, it was before the Super Bowl.
So I think it was January. We had a major quarterback trade, and it has been quiet, and it's been quiet on Washington's side, and that's it's a little bit unusual, although it is a little bit per the course for this Ron Rivera scheme or organization. But it's also, I know we want stuff. There's a lot of hype, I could say that. There's a lot of, is this quarterback going to come to Washington? Oh, Vegas is this quarterback with the odds. But there's a lot of smoke, but there's no fire right now.
Exactly. And speaking of quarterbacks, you always heard Russell Wilson. Is he going to come over here? Aaron Rodgers, this guy. And, obviously in their house, their camps are saying, we got this. We're dealing with this. At least Russell Wilson's camp. They're saying, we got no intention of letting him go. And then you're like, all right, well, let's move on. I've heard Mitchell Trubisky named in a lot of circles as, he might be somebody that we'd go after. Hey, this is what offseason is about, but I am glad that we're let's take our time and see what happens.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to, obviously, the quarterback is going to be such a huge decision. I think I heard today they've spoken to like 40 different players or about 40 different players that they're whittling down to, and they've almost like called all 32 or to be 31 other teams just to see, okay, what are you thinking? Is there room to talk here? So they're doing their due diligence. Like you said, we may not be able to get the Russell Wilson like we all were hoping a couple weeks ago. And we may be looking at a Mitchell Trubisky and, and stuff like that, which part of me is kind of like, wait a minute, we could have got this guy last year. We didn't. Right. So why is everyone putting him on our team this year? What's going on? But that might be what we're at. But, by the time we get to next week's show, who knows what rumors are going to be out there. And we may know a little bit more. And that would be fun to kind of say, okay, this is what we think is going to happen.
Oh, I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait for that because that's when you start getting all the speculation and who's saying what. And then, I can't wait. Let's go. Get closer and closer. Yo, shout out my guy. What's up, Anthony? Saying, what's good? What's going on, fella? Thank you for watching. Yeah, buddy. But look, last week we focused on the offense. We talked about the quarterback for a while. We talked about the running back, wide receiver, tight end, and offensive line. This week, we're going to focus on the defense and the position that coming into the season, we all said was our strength of the team. This was going to be the thing that was going to hold us down. We did not have to worry about it. Well, that became one of the holes on the team. So let's just break this thing down and start right here. D-line,
man.
But what they say, the breaking the tag team sack record, was that 48 sacks?
They got close.
Yeah.
They got close. Yeah. Just a shade about 40 on, to go, and then they would have gotten there. Yeah.
They could have done it. Ridiculous, man.
Well, but right before we get into the D-line, I got to do this because ever since I put my notes together on Sunday, this has been going through my head the entire time, man. This is me walking around the world. In my head's going, defense. Defense. Because I've been hyped to talk about this. This is why we call this football therapy.
Exactly, man. This is the connection we have, especially in this time when you just keep flicking through channels. Right. Like, come on.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, hey, I mean, look, this was our strength. This was supposed to be our strength. We already have Montez Sweat, and I mean, I want to get into that, but just naming it, we have the Montez Sweat, Chase Young. We want to make sure he gets healthy, gets back on the field. Really looking for a dominant comeback year, maybe even hints at comeback player of the year, because his energy, just his whole mindset. He's going to be ready to go. We got Ioannidis in there. We got Jonathan Allen in there. Daron Payne is somebody that everybody's been talking about. Do we need to re-sign him? What direction? And a lot of people been also talking when we were talking about the Russell Wilson trade. He was one of those expendable pieces where we could have been like, this is the piece to go. So you seeing the additions and the kind of help and back and forth in and out of the Shaka Tonys, Bradley Williams. These guys have been doing enough. We've got Settle still in there. It's time to make some decisions. There's some guys coming up, from the draft that maybe we could take a look at. Maybe not here as much as in some of the other positions on defense, but this is somewhere where I felt confident a year ago, and now I don't feel as confident. Where do we go from here, Will?
Dude, you said it perfect right there. We felt so confident going into the season. And on paper, Young, Sweat on the outside, Payne, Allen, Ioannidis on the inside, like, put them up against anybody.
Yeah.
And something went wrong last season. And like you said, I'm worried from a coaching standpoint, from a scheme standpoint, and I'm worried from a cohesion standpoint.
Yes.
Because there's something on the same page. You know, there was from a coaching standpoint, there was a lot of, let me just do 4-man rushes. My 4 guys can beat yours and we'll be fine. And they did not get there. That did not work. And I don't think we did enough changing up of the scheme until our 2 DNs went out injured. And he had to get creative and do a lot more blitzing and bring in linebackers and stuff. And the defensive line, the whole defense in itself played better. But why did it take guys getting hurt to change your philosophy, Jack Del Rio? Like, you know, where were these adjustments, you know, during the first 4 games, the first 6 games, you know, and then Chase got hurt. I think on week like 8, 9, 10, something like that. I'm a little bit concerned about 2 things. I'm really wondering with our defensive ends, Young and Sweat, whether they are meshing with Ron and Jack Del Rio. Because 2 things happen. The first one is Montez Sweat. All season long, we kept hearing Ron talk about discipline. And he's like, you know, we got to be playing discipline. We got to play with maturity out there. We got to – and everyone thought it was Chase Young. Well, when Montez Sweat got hurt and we had Casey Toohill and James Smith-Williams starting for us, although that talk about discipline went away, and Montez Sweat came back in the Eagles game, he made an impact. He had a sack strip that we returned, you know. But after that game, Ron talked about discipline. And once again, it's like, I'm wondering if Montez Sweat's not playing within their scheme. All right. Now you move on to Chase Young. And at the end of this offseason here, just recently, Ron made some comments saying that he wants Chase Young to play more physical. That last year he felt he tried to go a little bit too finesse. Yeah. And he's like, he's big, he's strong, he's fast. He needs to be more physical with his moves. Well, Chase Young came out and said, well, there's a time to be physical and a time for finesse. And I'm going to mesh them both. And like, that's now 2 times where it's like, I'm a little concerned that we have these, you know, elite talent, but it's not meshing with what the coaches want. And what do we do? How, you know, because there was a difference in how they played when Young and Sweat were gone. You know, tell me why Casey Toohill is out there making plays and reading the defense and backing up into play and putting his arm out so the quarterback throws wide. And it was against the Raiders. He had a key play that Cam Curl came up and made the stop. And it's all because the quarterback had to throw outside. The receiver lost his momentum. Cam Curl made the tackle. We beat the Raiders. That's Casey Toohill playing within like what Ron and Jack Del Rio want. But I don't want Casey Toohill out there every single snap. You know?
No.
So scheme wise, I think from, you know, a player standpoint, we got to look at this. But Ron and Jack need to be figuring something out within, like, how are you going to use some of this talent that we see on paper to do better in 2022?
Oh yeah. And then that's the thing. Honestly, with Chase Young and all that, you know, it's time to pay the piper. Like, right now is the time you get healthy, get everything back on. If you think your way works, then show and prove. You know, because what we saw this past year was not it. And I mean, I'm talking before the injury. And as far as Montez Sweat and having him back, I'm glad to have him back. But I think there is a disconnect. There is something that's off between them and the coaches, where it's almost like a situation where they're on the island and we can do it ourselves. And it's like, we don't need that. You know what I mean? And you talked about when Casey Toohill came in. When those guys came in, it's kind of like, do your job. You know what I mean? And we have 2 LTs on the side. Like, I'm just going to rush. I'm just going to rush at all costs. You know what I mean? That's the type of stuff. But look, even with all of that and those 2 guys, the one thing that we can never, ever, ever have to worry about, Jonathan Allen. He's the rock. He's the spokesperson for the team. We see that. He is balling out inside. I don't know if I can say the same for Daron Payne. We've talked about that. You know what I mean? He, in a lot of those mock trades, he was one of the expendable pieces, like I alluded to earlier. Should we try to make a move to keep him?
I don't necessarily think so, but it kind of sounds like we are. I'm with you where, like, Allen shows up. Now, he shows up a little more in the stats, okay? Yeah. And so that's easy to kind of see making plays. But I think he also shows up at just how many times is he in the quarterback's face? Whether he's getting the sack or not, just kind of disrupting the play, And Allen had a huge year. He's totally worth the $70 million contract that he got. Oh, yeah. Do you really give that same thing to Daron Payne? And yet, surprisingly, people say Payne still is the more talented player up there. But I would have said no. I would say you kind of let him walk and you move on and you kind of start to replace him this year and whatnot. But it almost sounds like that there's a good chance that we're going to dish out another $75 million for another D tackle. And it's kind of, well, then now what do you do about your 2 ends when you get there? And now, and that's good. It already was like a very talented, first round pick. A lot of stock was put into that defensive line. Now it looks like they're starting to put a lot of money into it, and that only amps up the pressure, even more. So I'm surprised by it because I don't think that's the route I would go.
Yeah. Now I think meaning I wouldn't be putting all that money in, especially because you have Ioannidis on a team friendly contract. You know what I mean? You have Settle has 1 more year left, right?
He's a free agent now.
Oh, he's a free agent now.
He is.
Ooh. So so if you have one of the 2, obviously you might go to Daron Payne, but for a friendlier contract, Tim Settle would be the option, and he plays quite well.
Tim Settle's going to get paid this year, and someone's going to get a good player. Yeah, I mean, it's like if we talked about all of the different trade rumors, and it is kind of hard to trade someone who has an expiring contract. That the way Daron Payne would be. Because after this year he can walk, so it's kind of hard to just say like, hey, anybody want this guy? Who wants it? Give us a 2nd round pick, because they're like, we're gonna get him for a season. He might walk. I don't know if I'm gonna give you that. But if he was put in with the trade for a quarterback as one of like the players, an idea could be you throw some money at Settle and let Settle come back and hey man, you're gonna start or rotate with Ioannidis, who I think Matt Ioannidis is in his last year of his contract too. Right. And he didn't come back as good last year, is what we saw. Maybe that needed another year, because he was not the impact player that he used to be. Matt Ioannidis was our best pass rushing interior lineman, and that was not the case last year.
No.
Yeah.
No, that was and that was definitely one of the things that disappointed me coming in, because that was one of the people that I touted earlier. I touted, his contract is great. He's a great install right there. He's perfect for that. And now if Payne and Jonathan Allen need a breather, he could come in and do that. But you're absolutely right. He didn't do it. He didn't show up last year. So he's gonna prove a year this year. We'll see what he's got. And he's got to definitely stay healthy. Coming up to free agency and the draft in the near future, there are a couple players in the draft that we can look into. Is there any direction maybe you'd want to go for cheap at defensive end or tackle on D-line?
You said the word cheap.
Cheap, right?
Yeah, cheap. So I looked at a couple ends and D tackles, and I mean, I'm talking about like the AARP of the NFL right now. I'm looking at guys that are like, we're pushing 40. We're definitely in 35 right here. We're pushing 40 on some of them. Basically, I'm looking at guys that are willing to come in here for 1 year. Yeah. They're a veteran. They can still make an impact, but they don't need to play every single down. They don't want to play every single down. But if someone goes down, they can start for a game or two. With Chase, and if Montez is still here, then we've got, they can mentor him a little bit. So at defensive end, the old guys I'm looking at, and we actually named him this guy last year, and he had a good year with Minnesota, Everson Griffin.
Yep.
Okay. I saw Tampa can't keep everybody, so bring me Mr. JPP and as many fingers and digits as he has. As someone who's come in, it's like, hey man, you just want to blitz? Okay, come on in.
That's all you need to do.
Right. Now I got another one at defensive end, and man, it's too bad Ab's not here. I would talk to the all-time leader in Washington history.
I was thinking the same thing. Bring him back. Bring him back,
Sean.
baby.
You know where I'm going with this. You say
it again, baby. Bring him back. We can get him for super cheap, and I know he'll ball out for us, man. Bring him back, man. I'm telling you.
I'm not saying that he's the difference, but Chase and Montez had a great 2020.
Yep.
They had a bad 2021. Those are the facts.
Yep. There it is.
And Ryan Kerrigan was here in 2020. Ryan Kerrigan was not here in 2021. Connect the dots.
Absolutely. I love it. Look, I'm with you. I love those picks. Everson Griffin, you talked about. We looked at him last year. I mean, if we can get a JPP, maybe a Justin Houston, at 33, a little older, and then you always got to think, if the Bears are stupid enough to kind of not pay Akeem Hicks, I mean, somebody like that to ball out and be good addition to this defense. So, a little on the older side, but we're talking let's pay you right now. Let's get 1 year in. Let's see where we can go from there. But I like that. Anybody in the draft?
Well, I got a couple free agents. Sorry, I got a few more.
Oh yeah.
In the unlikely situation that Daron Payne gets traded and Tim Settle signs elsewhere, I got some old dudes that I would say, like, hey, man, we need some rotational pieces. You want to play a little bit? Like, I'd look at, again, Tampa Bay can't keep everyone. And Ndamukong Suh, do you want to play for a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
Gerald McCoy, I think he's maybe in Vegas this year. McCoy started to make that, the final years of your career, you kind of bounce from team to team on 1 year deals. Corey Peters and Linville Joseph are two other names that I've seen that, like, come in and again, you're older, so we're not going to let you, you're only going to get 25, 30 snaps a game, but you'll get a chance to be a rotational piece.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I got Sheldon Richardson and Linville Joseph.
Yep.
Now, so both of those, and now Linville's is a little higher on the contract, and Sheldon's only, 3.6, but I honestly think some of those guys for cheaper that are maybe older that have played on the team, and they can do, like, they're veterans, they know what is expected from them, come right in, just help on that defense. I think what we need, we talked about for a while that we're very young, and especially on D-line and defense. We need to bring in some, I think, age, some senior maturity to kind of say, hey, all right, let's go. This is the way we're doing it. You know what I mean? How do I talk to the press? How do I, prepare? How do I take care of my body? And, something to move us on. Because this is a key part of our team, that D-line. That is supposed to be like the rock of our team with our studs, with Chase, Chase and Montez Sweat. So, and Payne and Jonathan Allen. So that they need to step up, in my opinion.
I'm with you. All of those guys could use someone who's been there, done it for a while, and comes from another organization too. Like, bring back Ryan Kerrigan, but all he knows is Washington and a year in Philly. Bring someone who's been around other places, maybe who's won other places, and can talk about, hey, you want to have a successful defensive line, you want to have a successful D team, this is what we got to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And then again, like I was saying, in the draft, anybody?
I do. So I've got at defensive tackle, I think we got to go the same route that we did prior to getting Allen and Payne, but some of these core depth guys, rotational pieces, when we picked up Matt Ioannidis in the 5th round and Tim Settle in the 5th round. And I have us going after Jordan Williams of Virginia Tech. Heard some really strong things about him. It's to kind of talk about how he's going to be a later in the draft, but he's going to be a good player. So it kind of be basically replacing Settle for another Hokie there along the interior. Some outside guys I've got Mr. Gamecock, Kingsley Enagbare.
Oh yeah,
I've heard that he could be around 2nd or 3rd round. He actually impressed me way more at South Carolina than I ever thought. Like he really kind of turned into something more. There's 2 guys. Jermaine Johnson played at Florida State. I think he transferred from Georgia Tech or Wake. He transferred from the ACC to Florida State and played well this year. And then, there's a dude from Georgia named Trayvon Walker. And if you can go after anyone from Georgia's defense, I'll take a look at him because you're kind of
you're in a good spot.
Right. And then there's one other name that he again could be further down in the draft to go for. So I'm not necessarily looking to use high draft capital. He's from San Diego State, named Cameron Thomas. And I just feel anytime these draft guys throw these players up from schools that aren't powerhouses, usually it's because they're showing something. You always see a player from Michigan, from Alabama, from from Florida State. They're always up there as a draft prospect. But when someone from San Diego State gets put up there high, I'm kind of okay, this guy must be able to play. So I don't know a lot about him, Right. I don't know tons about these guys yet. It's kind of still early, but those are kind of some names. It's all right, 2nd, 3rd, 4th round. Could they be there where we can add some depth to develop?
Yeah. Okay. I could dig that. Yeah, no, I Jermaine Johnson, that's somebody I definitely have had eyes on being in the ACC. Honestly, I gotta, I don't know. We would have to probably do it pretty early, but David Ojabo, the other guy of the tandem at Michigan with Aiden Hutchinson. I like his speed. I like his just hunger. He's new and he's fresh to the game. That would be a good help on the outside. Also, I gotta show love. I gotta show love to my Tar Heels. Where is it, Mr. Tomon Fox, baby? Hey, 6'3", 260. Maybe we can move him inside. Maybe he could be a hybrid guy. Maybe a little biased. Maybe this is the year of the North Carolina. Let's get on with that.
Did he play on the team that gave up 40 points to South Carolina in the bowl game? Is he on that defense?
All right. Okay. All right. I think he opted out of that game. All right. I think he opted.
That's probably why.
Opted out. Yo, we need to move on. All right.
I got one other idea when it comes to the draft. Okay.
Yeah.
And Ab, if you're listening to the podcast, this is for you. And this could work with the draft. So we talked about, is Montez Sweat fitting in with the team? And just today they announced that they're going to extend him. They're going to give him the 5th-year option for first-round picks. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it would not surprise me. I would not be shocked if Montez Sweat gets traded.
Ooh.
And
Do you have a theory?
I've got a theory. And it would provide a huge hole for us. And I'm not trying to go from Montez Sweat to James Smith-Williams playing 60 snaps.
Yeah.
But I think and I don't think we would get a first-round pick. We're not going to replace what we got for him. But if you were to get a 2nd and a 5th, I would look to get his replacement here in the 2nd round, someone who's going to be a starter. Your guy from Michigan may be gone by then, but maybe at that point we need it. We need to be looking at our first-round pick as another defensive, end, or we use our 2nd-round pick to replace Sweat. So I'm just kind of curious to see, what happens out there.
Yeah. I'm eager to see. It's gonna be interesting. But so we do have to move on. That is our strength, and that is something that we definitely want to focus our attention on, that D line. But the one glaring hole that we tried to address a year ago at this time, and we are still addressing it. Linebackers. Come on, man. Middle linebacker in particular, we've had an issue. Look, and first and foremost, let's throw it out there. I'm not just doing this because he's my guy from North Carolina, but Mr. Cole Holcomb, year in and year out, even if he's the only one, is getting it done. Constantly leads the team in tackles. Man, this guy is a monster on the field. I feel so confident with him. The problem is, what else do you have? Bostick proved he had issues. Our Jamin Davis wasn't able to get it. You know, injuries, COVID. It frustrates me. We were talking about this last year, man.
Yeah. I mean, this is a major hole for us this year. We thought we were going to address it, and we tried to address it, and it did not work. And they got to do something this year because if you remember in that Dallas game in Dallas, where we started some dude who didn't even have his picture up or didn't even have that profile on Sunday Night Football, Dallas literally would just be like, okay, where's that number 46? Here he is. All right, running back, tight end, run to him, do an out. Okay, there he is. And they just exploited him, you know. And by the time we got to our NFC East, gauntlet of a schedule, our linebackers were decimated.
They were done.
And we weren't able, and we were hopeless. So you talk about Cole Holcomb, and they're going to move Jamin Davis outside. They tried to make him inside. It just didn't work out. So we got our two outside linebackers for next year. They've signed David Mayo to come in and play special teams, but they talk all about how much they liked when he came in for the last game or two of the season. They said how much Cole Holcomb played better and how much the defense played better because they had that quarterback on the field, putting everyone into place. So he's there not to get playing time, but most special teams. But it shows how important this position is to us. And then we also have Buffalo nickel Landon Collins still on the team too.
Yes, we do.
He plays linebacker. He may not know that he plays linebacker, right? But he does.
Yeah. Oh, he definitely does.
So you got to kind of have to factor, where does he play into this? And don't forget, we got John Bostick, who is on an expiring contract, but he was cheap before. Maybe you can bring him back to not play starter, but be a backup and stick around. But this has to be a position that we target, whether we pay money in free agency, whether we put high draft capital in it, maybe we do a combination of the two. Yeah. We have to do something. The only thing that kind of gets me, I don't know, is you can really only have one middle linebacker. It's not like you can sign a wide receiver and draft a wide receiver. They can both play at the same time. There's really only one spot there to play. And the way the NFL is shifting with all of their, with all the wide receivers and the packages, your three tight ends are kind of more of a base package, or three linebackers, excuse me. And so I'm really curious when we get to free agency, what route are we going? Are we going towards a big money, veteran upgrade, or are we going towards a high, draft pick? And I've got some names, but that's just kind of like what I'm really curious to see what direction we go here, because like you said, we have to upgrade that.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. And that, again, we said this, I know it sounds like a broken record, but we said this a year ago on this show at this time. We said this. We needed to address that hole at linebacker. We have still yet to do that. And hey, I, like you, am still sitting here waiting. Hey, maybe this year at free agency, we're going to do this. I honestly think second to quarterback, this is our biggest hole. You know what I mean? We need to fix this issue because we are giving up gashing runs and anything across the middle because we're not able to stop that because of this position. And I'm very eager let's talk about this one because we need to figure out where we're going to go from here. Because is it just a thing where we go hit a couple linebackers in the draft and try them out? Or is it something where we try to do like the quarterback? Let's get a solid, proven linebacker. A year ago, we tried to look into a couple of those free agent guys. We ended up not getting them. But who did we try to? Van Noy. We tried to look into him. We tried to, but we weren't able to get them. So, okay, where do we go? Is it free agency? Is it the draft? What do you think, Will?
So if we just start in free agency and look at the veteran route, what is nice about this is there are guys out there that can be an instant impact. I agree with you where the quarterback is number one, and second being middle linebacker. But there's not a lot of elite quarterback prospects out there right now for us to consider. Right. But there are for some linebackers. There's some big names out there. Yeah. Kansas City just cut Anthony Hitchens. He's the on Spot Track. With his contract is, I believe, the highest contract out there. But the Patriots, there's Dante Hightower out there as well. The Saints, Quan Alexander had a huge impact year in and year out with plays out there, and even blitzing. He's a big time player. A guy we talked about last year on the Titans, Jayon Brown. We were hoping that he could be and he got scooped up. Last year, some of these names we were talking about, other teams went and got them, but even before free agency started. There's a name I got here. He played in Cleveland last year, and last year was his first year in Cleveland. And I saw this guy, and I was looking on Spot Track, and I look at for middle linebackers and stuff, like they're going to get a lot of tackles. That's their role. But I look at who's playing a lot of snaps, because that lets me know who's the quarterback of the defense, because that's what we're looking for. And then I played NCAA 14.
Let's go.
and I'm playing as the Minnesota Golden Gophers, my dad's alma mater. Okay, and I'm in year like 3 or 4 of it. Okay, and this guy on Northwestern was making tackle after tackle out there, and I'm like, who is this guy? Why can my running back not get past him? So his name is Anthony Walker Jr., and he played for Cleveland last year, and he had a big year. Like, he showed me, like, that's someone that I see out there where, like, obviously there's a lot of trust there. He was the anchor of their defense, getting everyone lined up. So that's a name I already look at as well. I got two other lesser names, and your Detroit folks need to chime in and tell me about this when they listen.
Let's go.
I loved Gerard Davis out of Florida in the draft. And when Detroit picked him up, I thought he was going to be great. I don't know what happened there. He went to the Jets this past year, but it just didn't turn out there. So I'd be curious as to what they know, but that he may not cost as much. And I'm interested in him. And then the other guy that I really like, I know I've rattled a lot of names, Oren Brooks from the Packers. He came out of was it Wake Forest, I think, as a linebacker. He was a lesser known guy, 2nd round pick, but he's a good little player. He can run. And so I'm looking for someone who can also, have some speed there. So those are some lesser names, but there are some big names out there that we could really go out.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm honestly, and Nathan saying back here, he's saying, what about Chandler Jones? That's one of those big names that's out there. This is Sid saying, what a re-iron. Look, honestly, I love some of the direction that you went into. One of the big names that I'm thinking about is Hassan Reddick. If we can figure out a way to get him, I think he dominated this past year, and I really love what he brings to the table. Quan Alexander, I completely agree with that pick. Dante Hightower, like I'm like, daggone, so there. I think this is definitely somewhere where we could go to the free agency. I'm eager. I'm going to go back and look at Anthony Walker Jr. now too, because I don't think
Were you focusing on just inside, or were you also looking at potentially going outside and saying, like, hey man, Jamin Davis, you're not an instant starter? Because I did my focus on inside, but yeah, tell me what you were thinking.
Well, see, that's the thing. I'm kind of, and I'm more looking at it as we are going to need to expand with how the offenses have been going, and our outside guys that are more effective to the blitz. I wanted to kind of maybe do it Rover, because what we have is, we know we have Landon Collins coming down. So that's taking somebody out of there. What I want to do is I wanted to look at some of the outside guys as well that maybe play a more of a hybrid role. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
look, yeah. So
Gotcha.
I'm eager to see how some of these guys will potentially fit. And I like how some of their contracts work with us, man. But I'm excited to look at this, man, because you look at some of these numbers, and I'm just kind of looking at Spot Track and just looking at some of these guys that are sitting here and available. Man, we need to make a move this coming offseason to look at one of these linebackers.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's going to be interesting because I know we're going to then talk about players in the draft, but we're going to know very early when we talk on March 16th, which will be free agency has happened. We're going to know what direction the draft's going to go in immediately because some of these guys were mentioned, they're going to be signing in the first 2-3 days to big deals.
Right.
And if one of those guys is here, we're probably not looking middle linebacker at number 11.
Right.
But if, say, we sign someone like we bring back John Bostick and we sign someone like Reggie Ragland from the Giants, and so we've got those veterans, now that opens up to, could we be going after Devin Lloyd from Utah?
Mm-hmm.
Could we be looking at N'Kobe Dean from Georgia? Are we now looking at a higher instant impact type player that we don't know yet?
And I think that's going to be huge. And hey, you let us right into, or do you have any other free agents you're looking at? Yeah, you let us right into the draft. And I'm absolutely, let's go right there. We have, Ab, shout out to Ab. Ab said it. The 11th pick is pretty much just as good as the top 10 pick. So you have the potential to get a top tier player. And right there, N'Kobe Dean, I don't see, honestly, if we're not going anywhere, I think we should need to go right there. I think that would be a solid pick, somebody that could come in, potentially be a day one starter and be an impact player. You know what I mean? We saw what Georgia did all year long. It's no question about it. And I definitely think that's somewhere I would go. But also, you got a Devin Lloyd out there as well that plays pretty solid. And, hey, my guy out of Wyoming, baby, Chad Wnba. Yeah, that's my dude, man. I'm telling you. He's underrated. He's like the Josh Allen of this. I'm telling you, watch out.
Yes. No. So I broke down my 4 guys in the draft by early picks and then late picks, like you were talking about. Your early, first round.
This is Ab. What up, Ab?
Oh, he's in there. Oh, just in time. So it's like you got your number 11 guys, which could be Devin Lloyd and N'Kobe Dean, or you've got your second, third round guys. I don't know why I heard today that Dean is not worth the 11th overall pick. But honestly, you want to know what I thought of? I hate saying this, but I look at Dean and go, hey, look what Dallas did with Micah Parsons.
Yeah. Look
where they moved him and made him a weapon out there.
Right.
So I'd be good with it. If we don't sign a big name veteran free, I'd be good with Dean. Lloyd or Dean with the 11th overall pick.
Yeah.
Then if you look in the second, third round, you got Chad Wnba from Wyoming.
Ab is saying, is Wnba worth an 11th though?
No. You're looking at like the second, third round for Wnba, or I don't know this guy, okay, but I was listening to a podcast from the Senior Bowl. And once again, I tell you, just like that Cameron Thomas guy, from San Diego State, they said this guy from Montana State named Troy Anderson flashed at the Senior Bowl as a quite the player. So it's like, if you get someone in free agency that's not costing a lot of money, and you go after this guy, and you're making the transition from Montana State, maybe he needs a year before he becomes Luke Kuechly for Ron Rivera, but that could be a name that I look at.
But hey, and shout out to Ab, glad you're watching. How much of it also has to do with coaching? You know what I mean? Because we can get some of these guys and bring them in, and but they still got to be able to be brought up the right way. So we also got to make sure we're focusing on coaching. Honestly, though, I am very excited at that pick. Because N'Kobe Dean, I've talked about him. That's my guy for this year. Like last year was what Zay, who was it last year that I was after? The linebacker from not Akron, Tulsa.
Yes, yes.
He
went to the
Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Yeah, the guy who went to the Cardinals. this is my guy, Nakobe Dean. I've been watching him. I like what he has to offer, but Momoa, that's that dude from Wyoming. Watch out, ladies and gentlemen. Watch out.
So before we move on to any other stuff that we got to talk about, one of the guys we have,
right,
and Landon Collins, and what do we do? How does he fit? Because if you do cut him, you have the ability. It's not the best thing in the world to cut him, because you're not going to go. He's costing like $15 million this year. You don't just get a $15 million savings. Because of the way the contract structured, these are still some of like his guaranteed years or his signing bonus. There's going to be dead money, so you're really only saving $6 to $9 million if you cut Landon Collins. Which, I mean, $6 to $9 million, that's another player. My wonder if they're going to put Jamin Davis on the outside and they're going to leave Cole Holcomb on the outside. Where does that? How does Landon Collins fit on the field if you're going to do that? And I'm just wondering, can we afford to keep him? They're talking about they're going to get together with his agent and talk about restructuring his deal. But it's just like, how many snaps can we have? Is he going to be happy with that? What do you?
Yeah. No, and honestly, I think they need to take a look into that, because especially if we spend the money to get an actual big name linebacker or an impact player that's actually going to do that role, then that cuts off one of your jobs, because we're not brought here because you're an excellent safety. You know what I mean? You're brought here more for your hybrid ability and the fact that you can be an impact player like that. But yeah, if we get somebody like that's something I think we're gonna have to take a look at, man. And here's the thing: last year he was hurt. This year he got hurt through the season. He was able to come back, but if health is going to be an issue compared to getting a young guy or getting somebody else that we can have that can fill in and play, that's gonna work against him. You know what I mean? Hey, like how he plays, like what he does, but yeah, if we're able to get somebody to fill in that, then yeah, he needs to prove, like we said earlier in the year, he needs to prove why he's in here, why he's getting the contract, and ball up. And hey, he's had moments. You know what I mean? So
I know it's like you can't sit here and say like, oh well, we're moving Jamin outside, so Landon, you're going to get cut, because it's like Landon made plays when he became that Buffalo nickel. Jamin Davis didn't make plays, so it's like it's hard. Now I got a scenario for you, Sean. Okay. I don't think you're going to like this.
Uh-oh.
What if we restructure Landon Collins? All right, so he still has like 3 more years left on his contract. So we got him. He can play the Buffalo nickel. We draft someone mid-round to develop, with the idea of we let Cole Holcomb go at the end of the year.
Oh, Cole Holcomb's no, get out of here.
Because he's a free agent after this year. So do you let him go?
I get it, but no. No, you don't let him go at all. Well, but and then bring him back potentially.
Like I'm not saying you cut him. You let him walk in free agency. You move on without him.
I'm saying
I don't like it. I'm just trying to think of ways to get people in the.
I'm always trying to retain my Carolina players, but yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I just feel like that would be well, it would depend on the situation, honestly, and I want us to re-sign him. That's somebody I'm focused on, but we will see. He says, we saved almost $7 million with a cut/trade him.
Yes, that's significant. That's something you've got to think about. That is a impact player. It's probably a backup, but you could put that towards another position of guys that gets on the field.
I said, I definitely hear you fellas, but I think 26 is a much better linebacker than a safety, but he only just started playing linebacker. I think it makes even more strides this year. Could.
I got an idea. What about this scenario? Yeah. And I love that Ab is responding in real time to this. So what if Landon's willing to do some type of restructure so we can keep him this year? Because, you do have Jamin Davis who they want to get on the field, but he hasn't proven a whole lot. What if you keep Landon Collins? You see how things are going with Jamin. You see how things are going with Landon. And he almost potentially becomes a trade option in the middle of next season before the deadline, where you see, can we move on from him now? Have we proven that we've got what we've got enough where, like, because I agree, Collins is better than Jamin right now, but there's a money factor in there. It's like, are we now safe to move on from him?
Right. And so that's my shout out to Brandon Spalletta hitting us, watching us, Herndon native. And here's Ab right here saying, Sean, but you got to ask this when you think about Holcomb. Can we find better though? And I think that's the X factor. If we can't find a better to fill in with equal or greater value, yes, absolutely get rid of him. And then it still stinks. But yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Because it comes down to dollar and cents. Absolutely does.
Yeah, and I will say this: I'm not calling for cutting Landon Collins. I'll be a little disappointed. I mean, as much as he loves Sean Taylor, and I know when he got that contract, man, that was a lot of money we gave to him. But it ain't my money, so what do I care? He's on my team now, so like I'm not rooting for him to get cut. And he did some really good things when he got moved to that linebacker Buffalo nickel. But I just wonder are they going to be able to keep him with this contract at where it is?
Yeah, that's gonna definitely be an issue. So hey, free agency, draft, we're looking there, but this is definitely something we need to figure out. Number one is quarterback, number two is linebacker. Start from the inside out, but this is definitely something we need to focus on. But we still do have a couple other positions we're going to talk about. Corner is another position we're going to talk about, and I'm hyped about this because we had some some people that showed up. Cameron Curl came off a great year a year ago and came into this one and did what he needed to do. Benjamin St. Juste before getting hurt was a bright addition to our defense. Another guy we talked about at the beginning of last year, McTyer. McTyer came in and then he got hurt. I'm eager to see him come back and get healthy. But obviously we have some guys that did struggle. William Jackson didn't do all the things we thought he was going to do. We still got Fuller, still got Johnson. I thought did we bring back David Johnson?
He is, but he's a free agent again.
He's a free agent.
You got Troy Apke.
Let's go. Fastest weight guy in the combine, baby. Let's go.
Finally move on from this guy.
Troy Apke. Let's get it, baby. So where do we go from here? Wait, real quick. They're saying Holcomb is a quality player, depth player. I don't see him as a starter anywhere else. Well, I get that. Because
I think he could start somewhere else, but he might not get a huge contract. But no, I mean, he's a quality player, but he doesn't necessarily be instant impact out there.
Good hustle guy. I relate to him. All right. We're going to corners. Will, hey, we already graded how we thought we did this past year at this position. We struggled. We had a lot of what ifs, with McTyer and Benjamin St. Juste and their injuries. What, how important is this position for us right now?
Man, I think it's more important than maybe the team is saying publicly, and what some of the journalists that are following the team and close to the team are bringing up, because they're not bringing this up much. And so I'm a little more worried about corner maybe than they are. So I might need to make a call to Ashburn, because like you said, we got William Jackson there. You've got Kendall Fuller, next year. So you do have your starters set up. I hope Benjamin St. Juste can come back, but he was out for half the season with the concussion. And I think he got 2 concussions in his rookie year. So it's like I'm a little nervous about, can we really say, hey, this is our number 3 if he can't be on the field. And if he can't be on the field, now you're falling down to the guys we had on the team, which was Danny Johnson, which was Troy Apke, which was Daryl Roberts. Like, I don't want those guys on the field.
No.
So that's a concern. But I also look at corner the same way when we talked about wide receiver. We need to have an upgrade. But how do you get there? Because we're already throwing more than $10 million a year at Jackson. We're already throwing more than $10 million a year at Kendall Fuller. Can you really go out and go to free agency and pay one of those guys, that's a free agent out there, $10 million? Can you really put $30 million on our corners? So how can free agency really be helpful, or do we need to be, without naming names right now, or does this need to be more of a draft priority? But by all means, man, I think we need to be looking at a number 3 and a number 4, or at the very least a number 3, with the hope that Benjamin St-Juste comes back as the player we saw develop.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's depth. We do, because again, it's hopes. They're hopes. We're hoping that what we saw last year, the signs that we saw, the glimmers of light that we saw from these guys, we hope that keeps going into 2023, 2022, and then 2023, and we're hoping that it definitely is something we can stand upon. But yeah, we're definitely going to need to get depth at that position, because there is a deep drop after you get to St-Juste, McTire, and then it's like, okay, and it's, you ask the same question you asked, with linebacker. If these guys go down, who do we have replacing them? So this is definitely going to be a position that we're going to have to take a look at. But I think you hit the nail on the head. I'm not sitting here trying to, pay $10 million for a guy for maybe a year or two that, who knows what I get. We went and got William Jackson last year and put all that hope into that, and then he underachieved. So, it's going to be interesting. There are names in free agency. There are a couple guys out there. You have Xavier Rhodes. Well, I've always kind of liked. I've always been down with. I like Xavier Rhodes. J.C. Jackson is available. He kind of.
Oh boy, he's gonna get paid.
Oh, he's definitely gonna get paid.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Believe that. But yeah, again, you don't want to sit here and try to that exact situation. You don't want to sit here and start trying to pay all this money for a corner and have a situation like Xavier Howard. He did all that, made all that noise to get all that money out of Miami, got a little money, and then what did he do this year? Completely fell off from what he had a year ago when he was dominating the league. So, any names in free agency? Or
I did, and I got one name, and he was cheap last year, and we liked him last year, and we were ticked off we didn't get him, and that's Desmond King. He went to the Titans, and he has the ability to play corner and safety, and so like if we're able to have some of the flexibility, and then I know we're going to get to him in the safeties, but everyone talks about how Bobby McCain can actually come down and play corner as well. For some reason, Spotrick had him listed as a cornerback on their thing, so it keeping him may be able come in and play a little nickel and be able to help us out a little bit. But yeah, I think this is going to be, we have to go to the draft on this. You're going to have to find that someone to develop, and I come back to saying, I don't think we necessarily can rely on St-Juste this year to give us 17 games. And so we need to address that.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of the draft, this is somewhere where, this is where we can find some gems. A year ago, there were a lot of great corners taken out in the draft. And this year, we all know the big names. You have the Derek Stingleys. All right. Ahmad Gardner out of Cincinnati, I think, is a monster. Okay. Trent McDuffie out of Washington. Roger McCreary out of Auburn. Are there any of these guys that you have your eyes on? Any guys you've taken a look at?
So for corner, I usually wait till after the combine before I really start looking in to see some of these guys. And so some of the names you mentioned, absolutely, those are some of the top players. And maybe if we decide it's so important at 11 to go corner, you look at some of those. Other than that, I think you're looking, again, as I keep saying, mid-round pick. You can only get so many mid-round picks, but it may be more of like that third rounder like we did with St. Juice again. So a couple names that I'm going to look to see how they perform in the combine, because I love size at corner with the way these receivers are going. And so there's a dude out of Texas San Antonio by the name of Tariq Woolen. So I want to see how he runs at the combine. There's a dude from Florida, last name of Elam. I can't pronounce his first name. Not going to try. Florida guys. He was a high-ranking recruit, so we'll see how he does. And Mississippi State has a guy named Martin Emerson. Mississippi State has turned out defensive players year in and year out, and so it'll be curious. And then I got my eyes on a dude from Georgia. He played well in the national championship game. Darion Kendrick. I'm sure Anthony Handy knows him pretty well. Obviously, again, coming from a great defense. And then now sometimes these guys from Bama, if they're not a first-round pick, they kind of suck in the pros. But Josh Joby is coming out from Bama. So those are like some of the names I'm curious to see how they do at the combine to see if they move up, But yeah, right now I don't have definitive, like, I want this guy. Kind of like we did for linebacker, but those are some of the guys I'm going to be watching.
Yeah, no, I echo all that, man. I honestly, another name I've been looking at, they have him. He played a lot of safety, but they have him at corner here. Is Kobe Bryant from Cincinnati. I definitely.
What's his name?
Kobe Bryant, man. Yes, sir. I love it. They definitely have him in there at corner, and he's a baller, man. He's a baller. Tariq Woolen, I've seen him. I started picking up on UTSA towards the end of the year as I realized they were, coming. They were undefeated for most of the season. So I was like, I gotta take a look at them, man. So I like Woolen. He's pretty solid. There was one other guy. Who was it? Taylor Hawkins, San Diego State. I've seen a couple of their games watching, the Mountain West and watching some of that. He played pretty solid, man. The competition was iffy, but he played pretty solid, man. So I'd like to see, like you said, in the combine. Let me see what what the numbers are, what the specs are, and let's see how it plays out. But I'd be definitely interested in that.
See, you're going after my theory where I say if they come from these non-football factories and get noticed, they got to be something there.
All right. I'm telling you, let's go. I believe it. Fred Smoot, Mississippi State.
Smooth. I used to love yelling that at FedEx.
My God, man, the mouth from the South. My God can talk anybody out, boy. Let's go. And and we actually alluded to this earlier. The next position we're covering, the safeties. We talked about Landon Collins, Bobby McCain, got Reeves. We got some of these guys that are in here, but it's still a question. It's still are they good? They're not really great, but they're not awful. Cameron Curl, like where do we go from here? Talk to me about this, Will.
And this is a position I think we need to have a major upgrade on. Yeah. And I hope they feel the same way. I'm not sure that they do. Just as bad as our linebackers were last year, I think our safety play, our DB play was atrocious as well. How many damn times did we get beat deep? And it drives me crazy. From all that I hear so far from all the guys following the team, they love Bobby McCain, and they're going to bring him back or do everything they can to bring him back. And I'm okay with that. Good. But I don't want it to stop there. I want us to improve this team. I think this is your chance to kind of evaluate the roster. Right now, I think the only starter on the team is Cam Curl in the safeties position. And he's certainly turning into a 7th round gem. I don't know if DeShazer Everett is going to be able to play. I feel so bad for him. Obviously, dude didn't mean to do what he did, but there's a good chance that he's going to get hit with involuntary manslaughter for what he did, for that car accident. So obviously, it wasn't intentional, but there was a result of a death of somebody. So I don't know if he's going to be playing anymore. And then you got a guy they drafted, Derek Forrest, who was meant to be a special teamers. And so I don't know I don't know if I wanted him to be anywhere near the field right now. I just don't know much about him. So I really want them to go big in free agency. This year, there are some free agents that were not available last year. Guys that we were looking at last year that their team franchise tagged that I want us to take a look at, pretty hard. And I think we could really make an upgrade here. You go first before I start naming names.
So honestly, I got a couple different theories and options of where I want to go with this. There's part of me that's kind of like, maybe I want to bring, old teammates together. You got Landon Collins, and let me go get Jabril Peppers. He's cheap. Let me bring him in here and see if he can do it. He's a baller on the defense. Marcus May is somebody that I've kind of had my eye on, but he is expensive. So I'm definitely not trying to pay up for that. But at the same time, it's like that's the place where we need to make sure we get a right guy in there. Keanu Neal out of Dallas. I hated when they got him. He'd be somebody I'm definitely interested in at that spot. And then honestly, I like some of these guys that are a little cheaper down the line. You got, what I mean? You got Jaron Curse, and you got Jesse Bates. You got some of these guys that like, okay, they might be asking for something. They ask for a lot, but you can work them in and then kind of get it on a prove deal and kind of get them to, earn things with incentives and things like that. But there's a couple of guys in free agency that I think we could go ahead and pick up, and we might need to spend up here, because we need a guy that I think is going to allow Landon Collins to go down and be that hybrid linebacker or anything like that. What do you think?
So the last person, and they all say Facebook user, so I can't see who said it, but the last one, this is, I agree with whoever said this. Who was this?
Let me see. Ab.
Oh, okay. Yeah, dude, I'm right with you on this. That's kind of what I'm looking at, where like, I think with Cam at strong, we're looking to replace and do better at free safety. And Bobby McCain can be a part of that. I want him to be, if we go three safeties, he can be a part of the deep safety look that we got. So whoever said it before, you read in my mind. I highly doubt he's going to want to come to Washington. But if you're going to cut Landon Collins to get money, man, I would throw the book at Honey Badger.
Yeah, that's what he said. That was Ab.
It was Ab. Yeah, man,
yeah.
I'm right with you because he can play both positions.
Good.
Free and strong. He provides that flexibility. He's going to be a leader. We talked about what are we going to do for Chase Young. You get Honey Badger back there, talking to him about how to be a professional and just kind of be out there. Like I would pay him all the money.
Yeah.
The other guy I would pay all the money to that I was so mad that they franchised him last year was in New Orleans with Marcus Williams. And so he's a free safety. And I focused all these names on free safeties. I would be all for him. Give him the money, especially like I said, if you're going to save money with Landon Collins not being around, let's replace it with another big safety.
Absolutely.
You said Marcus May. He was the other guy last year we were looking at with the Jets, and they re-signed him before free agency happened. He came off the board. There's two guys from Philly. I'll take either one of them. Anthony Harris, Rodney McLeod. I'll take them both.
Yeah.
I'll take either one of them. I'm good with that. Just come up down 95. It's 2 hours away.
Let's go.
You're fine.
Come on.
I'll take either two. And then you mentioned Jesse Bates from Cincinnati. I think he's going to get paid. Though. He's cheap now.
I think so too.
But he's going to get paid. But what I'm trying to say is I want to spend money on safety. I think it's that much of a liability at free safety for us that I think we should go after one of these guys.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think this is going to be a place we're going to have to make a move. And I kind of expect us to make a move for this during free agency. But, at the same time, there's no shortage of solid safeties coming out in the draft. We could start with Kyle Hamilton at Notre Dame. You know what I mean? Some of these guys are legit as safeties, and they could come in and make the play. I talked about Kobe Bryant they have him at corner, but he also played some safety as well. So guys that can play both corner and safety are definitely key. maybe pick up somebody in free agency and then also get somebody in the draft. I mean, depth is always good, but like when you have guys like you talked about Forrester, we know what he is. He's a special teamer. He can come, he can go. He's not that valuable to the team. If you want to get a guy that's going to make an impact, somebody that can learn the system, kind of like what we did with Cam Curl. We got him in, we put him in, got him into the flow of things. He showed out, he's starting to play. We saw that we can do that with McTyer and St. Juice. With what they were doing, they were playing pretty well prior to getting hurt. So, let's take a look at definitely picking up somebody at safety in the draft. But I definitely think the way to go is free agency. But what do you think in the draft, man? Do you have anybody?
I got 2 names for you. One is from a school I can't stand, so I hate saying this, but he's I didn't know who he was during the season, but I've read a lot of good things about him. His name is Jaquan Brisker from Penn State, and he can play both free and strong. They say he can do both, and he's a solid player. And here's the other one. All right, he's gonna wait for the combine. This dude is gonna fly up in the combine, in my opinion. If he does not, then we should go after him because he is going to be someone like a Cam Curl, I believe, who will develop in the NFL. And he's a dirty Turk. His name is
Nick Cross.
Nick Cross.
I knew you were going to say Nick Cross. Yo, come on, man. What did Terry Funk do last year?
This is the deal. There's no way in hell Nick Cross should ever come to Maryland. I think he chose Maryland over Florida State. I don't know why he did that, but he did. And for 3 years he was a starter, I believe. I mean, I think he's got even more potential. And if there's 2 positions that Maryland is good for, wide receiver and corner. You talk about J.C. Jackson. You talk about Stephon Diggs. They can churn out these skill players. That's all they can churn out, but that's what they can churn out.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, no. I absolutely love it. They said Brister looks more like a strong safety. Here. He said, this is exactly the plan, Sean. Good safety in free agency, then one in the draft to learn from. I love it. Yeah, just like at quarterback. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I like that. This is another one of those positions that we really need to focus on. And as you've seen, I mean, the defense definitely needs to be a focus, almost similar to a year ago for Dallas when they focused mainly on the defense in the draft. I think this needs to be a focus. Obviously, we know we're looking at potentially getting a quarterback as well. But outside of that, we need to focus this on our defense, on securing that and getting depth. Because as we saw with injuries, that played a major role. But look, ladies and gentlemen, you got anything more on that? Ladies and gentlemen, we have to move on. We are coming close to the end of the show, and we got a special treat for you. This man is tearing up the airtime late night. He's the king of late night, ladies and gentlemen. My man, my guy, Big Nate, host of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast, Nathan Snell. What up, buddy? You're on mute.
Still on mute.
Still on mute. Come in, yeah. Come out and come back in. And while we're doing that, I got another thing I'm taking myself out. Don't worry, I'm going to do that. Let's see. Yo.
Hey.
What up, man? No, I can't hear you. No. Will, can you hear him?
I cannot. It worked pre-show. I wonder what happened here.
Yeah. Let's see. Bear with us, ladies and gentlemen, while we get Nate on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, Mr. Nathan Snell, this guy's a night owl, all right? This guy is up late nights doing his due diligence, giving the sports that he loves, and which is all of them. He's talking NFL. He's talking NBA. He's talking WNBA. He's talking – Nate, you with us? Nope. Why is this? Why can I not hear?
Is it your headphones, Nate? I don't think you were on headphones before. No.
Yeah, go on.
While we're troubleshooting, Sean, I've got some great news to report.
Oh yeah.
This is the first show that we've gone through that I have not received a text telling me that I'm too loud.
There we go. Let's amp it up a little bit now. I can dig it. Yo, so talk to me. What does Trisha think of the show?
She loves the fact that I get all my energy out with you all. She did not check her calendar today to see that I had this because I deleted him off our calendar, so she knows when I'm doing it and when I'm not, and so she was surprised that she had baby duty.
Nothing,
Nate.
Dang.
How is?
I can see it clearly. For some reason, I just can't hear you at all.
So strange.
Now, I'm going to take you out and see if we can get you back in. While we wait for that, actually, let me see. No. Damn.
Huh.
I don't know what's going on with that. While we wait for that, I gotta share something. My buddy, and one of the members that started this show, Mr. Anton Benton, is starting his own company. Man, he's a local handyman. He lives out of Virginia Beach right now, but he will travel. He does plumbing. He does cabinets and kitchen work, upholstery. Does a whole bunch. And I'm just going to let him tell you.
Hey there, ladies and gents. Your local handyman, Anton Benton, here to help you with your problems. I'm here right now on the job site taking out whole kitchen cabinets. A little bit more work to do. But if you got a project at your house that you need to get completed, I'm your guy to finish it up for you. Give me a call. Let me know what you need to get done.
About your new company, man. Shout out to your new company. Go ahead and tell the world about your new company real quick.
Oh, boy. So, marketing Anton Benton Pros.
Yes.
Doing everything from plumbing to electrical to making huge decks to doing closets.
Yes.
Doing it all.
That's what's up, man. I'm super happy
Thank
for
you guys. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Buddy.
That's awesome. One more thing about Anton.
Yeah.
How about now?
Let's go.
Nate.
We're in.
Okay.
Right before we give you your chance, Nate, I just want to let you know about Anton and Mr. Abdul Lowe. They are both new season ticket holders of the Washington Commanders. So big ups and congrats, fellas.
Let's go. Let's go.
Enjoy this season.
Definitely.
Exactly. That is going to be great. Oh, my goodness. Look at that. Season tickets in Virginia Beach. Wow. Now that's crazy. Much respect.
Definitely much respect.
Oh, man, time. Let's go. Let's go. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, got it working. Shout out to my guy, host of Big Nate Sports Talk podcast. We'll be going on later tonight. Nathan, you're on the show, man. How you doing, man? First and foremost, how are you, man?
I'm feeling good. It doesn't feel like Wednesday and it doesn't feel like March, but everything is going well in my neck of the woods. So,
okay, I can.
You see, Nathan, it doesn't feel like March because y'all live way up there in the Mid-Atlantic where it's cold as right now.
Yeah.
You got to come down here, man. We're shorts weather already. Let's go, springtime.
Hey, we had 55 today.
Yeah, it was like around the 60s. It was a little warmer today.
That helps. That helps.
Yeah. But so Nate, man, talk to us, man. Hey, you're a Washington fan, Baltimore is your main squad, but Washington's your side squad. Talk to us. What do you think about the season? What do you think about what we should do on defense? What we were talking about? What you got?
Well, I feel like definitely the defense, with missing key players like, Chase Young with the ACL tear, and then, Montez Sweat went down with the injury. My only question was Jamin Davis. Was he a reach, or is he still a project? I do think they can buff the defense. I kind of want to see how Jack Del Rio, what he can do with a full healthy squad going into next year. I do feel like I think guys still were adjusting to his system. I think he was trying to figure out the best personnel that could go with his system. I mean, for all it's worth, the cap that Washington has, they can make a couple moves. I do like the idea of, going after Hassan Riddick. But my concern is Washington may overpay, because history has shown Washington can overpay for some couple times. It can happen. But I know you guys said it was a reach. I'm just saying, in others' eyes, is he deemed a project? Yeah. If he was a project, who else would you have taken? Especially that going that late into the first round, who else would you have taken? Landon Collins, and that really hasn't panned out for Arizona. So,
you hear that, Sean?
Yeah, I do. I heard it. I heard it as soon as it happened.
He was salty that he didn't come to watch it.
God, I wanted him here, man. But hindsight's 2020. Hey, who knows? But yeah, I get that. But so one of the things that we didn't talk about today, but we talked about before, you and I have talked about it, Nate. Quarterback. Okay. Yes. We're long past the days of Dwayne Wayne, Strip Club Haskins, and and Alex One Leg Smith. We lived through no Fitzpatrick, no magic in Fitzpatrick, and Taylor Heineck. Do we get
Kyle Allen?
Yeah, right. And Kyle Allen. What do we do at quarterback, man? Do we draft? Do we go into the free agency? Do we trade? What do we do, man?
Well, I mean, other than Mitch Trubisky, there's really nobody out there in the free agency market that I would go, I'll sign that guy. I just don't think realistically, Washington has put themselves in a position where you really can't make a trade for a quarterback right now. Personally, I would draft a quarterback. My only concern is we draft a quarterback, he's going to need at least 2 years before he can take before he can take the team
to command.
To take command. There you go.
Let's go.
Personally, I think Kenny Pickett or Sam Howell would be a good pick. Yeah, I know, North Carolina boy.
Let's go. That's right.
I can't see Washington going out there and making a trade for a quarterback. I can't see it.
You can't see them doing it, or you can't see a team trading with us?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a little bit of both. I don't think who would if you're the Seattle Seahawks, if we called up Seattle and said, hey, we'll take Russell Wilson, they're going to want a ransom for him. They're going to want like 5 first-round picks.
Right. They're going to want a lot.
Right.
And Washington has always kind of been like, well, we'll do what it takes to get somebody. Did it with RG3, in my opinion. I think they need to just go the route just drafting and continue to build the team. And then I give it 2 years, guaranteed. The Washington Commanders are taking command of the NFC East, and they will be Super Bowl champions in 2 years.
2 years? Well, who's going to be our quarterback? I mean, I love that. But who's taking snaps?
Who's taking snaps?
Yeah.
My guess. You hold my feet. I'm still. It's either Malik Willis or Sam Howell.
Oh wow. Okay.
I think the way. My only thing, if they can get another playmaker behind McLaurin, Logan Thomas comes back healthy. They buff up the offensive line. The running game's already strong with Gibson, JP, and McKissick. So that's strong there. I'm not really sold on Curtis Samuel. I feel like he was like DJ Moore's safety blanket when he was in Carolina. And I'm not comfortable when you with a guy going in his first year of his contract. He's already injured. So like that's not going to work for me. I mean, I think Washington knows that they have to come. I mean, because they were in the division against Tampa, so Washington has they've shown flashes they can be a threat. I just think it's ensuring that we have the right pieces in place. Right. Like Heineke was, let's just call it like he was like
a fill-in.
Like he was like a Rudy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Just like, we support you. We're all for you, but you're not our
guy. not the long-term guy. That's like no.
Hold up real quick. All right, Ab. Let's address this. Yes, I did say that Fitz was my guy. I just wanted 8 games of the Magic. I got 0 out of 17 games of Actually, no. I got a quarter. I think it's Ab.
It's got to be him. And
you did take your comeuppance 2 weeks ago. Were we expecting the first game of the year to come out and he gets a hip injury?
No, of course not.
Apparently, he was hurt beforehand.
See, but then if that's the case, then that's more on Ron Rivera and that's the training staff. Why would you have him out there and he's not? He's injured. He's not ready to play.
Well, the training staff was trying to avoid the DEA, all season.
Right.
So who knows what they were doing?
Several members of the training staff were under investigation.
We brought Bubba Tyre out, who has been retired for 20 years and hadn't been doing this, to say, hey, can you wrap some ankles?
Please. That's the situation we're in. Ab said Curtis Samuel is equal to Paul Richardson. Ooh.
I'm not going to go that far.
Let's hope not.
Oh, wow.
But
I'm not going to go that far.
So here's something that I think, Sean, you and I will definitely talk about next week. But so right now they're saying every single quarterback, rookie that's in the draft, would be behind all of last year's first-round picks. So the very best this year, Kenny Pickett, would be number 6 last year. All right. Wow. Which is really they're really downplaying this quarterback class big time. But my question to y'all is what I hear is okay, so then what do you think their ceilings are? Compare them to pros, and they're you're looking at maybe a Derek Carr, but maybe before this season because Derek Carr blew up, a Andy Dalton and a Kirk Cousins. Okay, that's what that could be their ceiling. So my question to y'all is, can't you win with that? Is that a problem?
No. Andy Dalton won. They won since Cincinnati won with Andy Dalton. Mm-hmm. It's been proven. Mm-hmm. If you just put pieces around the quarterback, they can get all as a cohesive unit. They can get the job done. Your team can easily win 11 games. I mean, if you're just Derek Carr and all you got is Amari Cooper, and that's it, and then maybe other than Darren Waller, you don't have a running game. You don't have another dynamic playmaker on the other side of Amari before Amari left. Derek Carr, I feel like he's gotten flagged for all the wrong reasons in Oakland because Oakland and Las Vegas, they never really truly built a team around him.
That's what I'm saying. I get the whole thing of how people are saying, well, there's no Aaron Rodgers type. There's no Trevor Lawrence in this group. But if you can get someone serviceable who's going to be top half of the league, I mean, we're so bad in Washington, we ought to be happy with someone like Kirk Cousins.
Brandon said, yeah, we would have won. We would have won with Cousins. Well, yeah, if he didn't throw the interceptions at certain times, he was prone for that. And Ab said this just they just didn't win playoffs with Dalton. Yeah,
that wasn't all on Dalton.
No, but exactly, but he still got there. They just but
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. He just they couldn't get over the hump. But you're right, that wasn't all on Dalton. And they had some good teams, him and AJ Green. Look, at the end of the day, that is the position we need to focus on. And there's a lot of different ways we have to look at it. Can we say that, one of these guys is coming out of the drafts is somebody that you can put your franchise on like you had from the year ago? Maybe not. But if we can build a situation, what did we talk about today? We talked about defense. Last week, we talked about offense. If you can build around him, similar to kind of Pittsburgh, with a good defense, solid running game, some decent receivers, tight end, they still got to work that O-line, but you can fill in a little quarterback of Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins for a year to get yourself to next year where you can potentially draft a quarterback or something of that nature.
Yeah.
So it's about, you got to build around. You definitely got to build around your guy, and this is the time to do it.
I got another question for you all.
Yeah.
All right. I don't, and there's again, it says Facebook user, so I'm sorry, but whoever put up the thing about Deshaun Watson. Oh, no, not you can shout me out too. Yeah, thank you. Good point, Will. That's right. All right. So realistically, like we're saying, I don't think Russell Wilson's going anywhere. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is actually going anywhere. I think he's going to realize it's best to play the Lions, Vikings, and Bears 6 times next year. Yep. Dude, I can sit those games out. You know, and we still are going to win. So I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be there. So the only quarterback who I think is going to, marquee quarterback is going to change teams is going to be Deshaun Watson. I think that's over in Houston. But I also recognize that you can't exactly come to DC if you're in trouble for sexual assault and you got a sexual assault.
Not a good fit.
But let's keep it real. I mean, we didn't hear any of that when they were winning. When they're losing, he wants out. I'm just saying.
So here's my question to you all: is if Deshaun becomes available, and you can bring in this guy who's 26 years old. Let me remind you all, he's 26 years old and a top 10, maybe top 5 NFL quarterback. Are there any players that are untouchable? Because for me, the only player who is untouchable is Terry McLaurin, because I need someone to catch the ball. Now, before people start saying, are you kidding, Will? I'm not trying to trade Chase Young. And if you want Chase Young, you are going to lower what you get. Like, you can come at me and say, I want 3 firsts, Chase Young and Daron Payne. And I'll say, I'll give you 1 first-round pick and Chase Young. That's the big difference between it. But I would I would give them 3 picks and Montez Sweat. I would give them 3 picks. And, I don't think they'll take and Daron Payne, but, I would, for Deshaun Watson, sell the farm. Because I think he would make that big of a difference.
Wow. So you're pulling practically a San Francisco.
Say what?
So you're practically going to pull a San Francisco.
San Francisco?
Or no, Chicago.
Chicago?
Mm-hmm.
What, Justin Fields?
Yeah, that's what you would do?
I'd give up even more than what they did. But yeah, I think for that.
And it brings the question, is he worth it? And we watch it, like you said, he's 25, he's young. I wonder about the year off that he's had. He had an injury a year or 2 prior to this past year. So he was out half season there. And then he had this year that he's been off. We always talk about, when Kaepernick get back in the league, and it's just like, look, all that shelf rust from being on the not in actual NFL or competitive play, it makes a difference. It takes a toll on you.
Well, I'm pretty sure he's been in the gym and he's been with his trainer.
But even in the gym, that's not.
I know it's not actually being on the field. I know.
Yeah. But so, hey, look, we could keep talking about this all night. I'm getting the cue from the producer.
I'm way past my 9:30 limit.
Right. So real quick, man, Nathan, you're going on a little bit later tonight.
Yes.
What are you focusing on tonight? What are you talking about? What you got going on?
Yes. This is part 2, episode 5, season 6 of Big Nate Sports Talk podcast. I had the episode go up earlier today. I talked about Kyler Murray and him and his agent coming up with that very lovely open letter to the Cardinals. The Wizards won last night miraculously. Maryland basketball, we're playing Minnesota right now. I'm sorry. The ladies, Terps had a double bye week until Friday, I think it is. Then a double bye week. I'm gonna talk about that tonight. The WNBA tonight. The New York Liberty got fined $500,000 for trying to treat their athletes like professional athletes for charting flights. So
wow.
Yeah, and there was a rumor that they could have been terminated as a team. So, yeah. So that's going to be part 2 of the episode. They're supposed to go live in about 30 minutes or so.
All right, cool.
So
cool. We'll definitely be tuning into that. Yeah. And also definitely check out my guy Nathan Snell with myself and Kate Alverson on Friday nights as we go into Let's Talk March Madness, where we dive into the men's and the women's tournament. We'll look at who's on the bubble, who are our favorites, who's going to be the Cinderella team. Will my Tar Heels take the title? Will we get it done? Who knows? We know South Carolina won't be in there, so there we go.
Good. I hate Frank Martin.
Well, the South Carolina Gamecocks, the women are in there for sure.
For sure. Yeah, number one. Oh yeah. And Aaliyah Boston, Player of the Year.
Yeah, she got SEC Player of the Year. So now it's
probably has to be.
Now it's up to the now it's national.
She's got
Player of the Year.
She's got to get it. Well, listen, hey, Nathan, we absolutely appreciate you hopping on the show. Definitely, ladies and gentlemen, check him out. He's coming on in about 30 minutes. Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast, man. He's hitting all the topics, all the sports. I'm thinking my better. I think that just went dead. Give me 1 second.
You still sound good, so that's
you sound good fine to me.
Yeah. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Thank you to whoever said have a good rest of your night, fellas. We appreciate that. We appreciate the interaction.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Always fun. I think he just wants to do his outro. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah,
You're good.
Yeah. And I hate to run, but I'm getting called to say I got to go help put baby down, so I got to get running.
All right, Will.
All right.
Tell the missus I said hi. Thank you.
Dude, yeah. Deuces, guys. Sorry this ended up right here. I can't hear. My headphones went out. This is
no problem.
End to the episode that's ever been. So if you can hear me, great. If you cannot, I apologize. We will be with you next time. My guy, Nathan Snell, Will Kramer, Sean Spencer. All this. Look, we love you. Appreciate you. Deuces, people.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
I am Janae Strother.
I'm Sean Spencer.
We are back.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen.
I gotta go out and hold up.
Come on. The lion. Here. The lion. New music. So fine. Kurt Cousins.
All right. I am Janae Strother.